How will the world end, and in what order will everything unfold? You know, Christians have wrestled with this for centuries, and we've turned to the book of Revelation for insight. In particular, Revelation chapter 20, which is one of the most mysterious and hard to understand chapters in all of the Bible. For instance, look at this verse 6. Blessed and holy are those who share in the first resurrection. The second death has no power over them, but they will be priests of God and Christ and will reign with him for 1,000 years. Repeatedly in this chapter, we read about this 1,000-year period, what Christians call the millennium, that's just Latin for 1,000 years, when Satan is bound and unable to deceive the nations, and Christians are reigning with Christ. What does all of this mean? Well, Christians greatly differ in how they interpret this. There are those who fall into the premillennial camp, that is before the 1,000 years. They believe Christ will return bodily, his second coming, before that 1,000-year time, and he will reign on earth bodily during that time. Some also believe that Christians will be raptured out of the world before the time of the tribulation. Then there are those who would be classified as post-millennial Christians, and they believe that Jesus will return bodily at the end of the millennium. That means that there's this period of prosperity in the spread of the gospel before Jesus comes again. That means that the church is the one that brings about that time through the spread of the gospel and their ministries. And then finally, there's a camp of amillennialists. That literally means no millennium, no literal millennium. They view the entire time between Jesus' first coming and second coming as the millennium, as a time when, yes, believers are resurrected and reigning with Christ in heaven spiritually. And yes, Satan is bound in a sense because the gospel is spreading miraculously right now. So this time we're living in is both a time of tribulation, persecution, but also of incredible great news, the gospel spreading. So I don't know where you fall in these three camps, but here's the deal. At the end of the day, Jesus is coming. All Christians agree on that. And when he comes is Judgment Day. We also see that toward the end of Revelation. Again, in chapter 20, and I saw the dead, great and small, standing before the throne, and the books were opened. Another book was opened, which is the book of life. The dead were judged according to what they had done, as recorded in the books. No matter what you believe about the millennium, the Bible's clear. At the end of the day, at the end of history, all of us will have to answer for what we've done. In fact, not just what we've done, but all the thoughts we've had, all the motivations in our heart, all the things we've said, all the good things we've left undone or unsaid. And it's as if this is put in a book, figuratively speaking, like God has kept a perfect record of everything you've thought or said or done. I don't know about you, but that's a scary thought to have to answer for every single word, thought, or deed. That's why it's good news in this very same verse we have reference to another book, and that is the Lamb's Book of Life. And the book of Revelation makes it clear, as does the rest of the Bible, that the only way to make it through that judgment is not to be good enough. That's not possible. But that your name is recorded in the Lamb's Book of Life. That is, that Jesus died in your place, paid the penalty that your sins deserved, and gave his righteous life to you, his perfect life to you as a gift. So when God on Judgment Day looks at you, he doesn't look at your book, but he's looking at Christ's book. This is good news, and here's even greater news, if you can believe it, from John chapter 5. Listen to this. Moreover, the Father judges no one, but has entrusted all judgment to the Son. If you're a Christian, you have nothing to fear on the day of judgment, and here's why. Because the very one who has been appointed to judge you is the same one who's died in your place. He has paid the penalty your sins deserve, and he will be the one to render judgment on you. This is good news, and today's takeaway is simply this. The one who will judge you is the same one who died in your place. And the key question for you to think about this week is this: in which book will you put your hope on that day? Give that some thought, and we'll continue our series at church this Sunday as we actually wrap it up with the final part, a new heaven and a new earth, life lived eternally with God. See you at Cascade Fellowship at 10 a.m.